This is part 2 of my last video where I discussed the consequences of phases 1 through 3 of the MCU and how the events of Endgame affected characters we'd come to know and love. If you haven't already, I highly recommend checking that out before going through with this video. Link is in the description below. I have to say, that first video I put out really got a lot more traction than I was expecting. I want to take this moment to thank each and every person who viewed that video. Special thank you to those of you who liked and subscribed. It means more than you'll ever know. So, what about another one? Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Last time we spent a lot of time talking about consequences and how the consequences of Endgame set up everything that we witnessed go down in Phase 4 of the MCU. I have to say, after the epicness of Endgame, I really wasn't expecting Phase 4 to go as hard as it really did. I was honestly expecting a return to form like the old Phase 1 days. You know, a bunch of origin stories that are more street level than anything else. When Black Widow came out, it really gave the illusion that that was what was going to go down. However, with the release of the likes of No Way Home and Loki, it was clear epic shit was about to go down. It's not to say it was all like that, though. We in fact did get some origin stories, introduced new heroes with their own personalities and struggles. That's the focus of this video, the newbies of the MCU. Despite how you feel about the brand or the content they put out, I think it's hard to deny that Kevin Feige has successfully pulled off one hell of a feat when crafting this franchise for the past decade and a half. However, it's not enough to establish the characters and tell the stories. It was clear that after Endgame and Far From Home, the MCU was in something of a finale. Think of the past 3 phases as like a 10-year-long first season to your favorite show. In order to spice things up in Season 2, you have to introduce some new characters.
We need new heroes.
Give me a second, Sam. I'm getting there. You have to bring in new personalities, and in the MCU's case, new cultures. It's something that helps not only to keep things fresh and interesting, but also fleshes out the universe and makes it feel more realistic, in my opinion. You may not agree, but it's definitely how I feel. As always, we can spend some time exploring this more in the comments section below. In this video, we're going to explore 4 new characters that have been brought into the MCU. As with last time, I'm going to assume you've seen every film and Disney Plus show that takes place in the Marvel Universe, but I'm mainly going to focus on the shows Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, and She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Definitely going to spoil some stuff from those. With all that out of the way, let's get on with our feature presentation. I guess the best place to start would be our first new hero to appear in a Disney Plus series, Stephen Grant. I mean, Mark Spector. I mean, Jake Lockley? It's Moon Knight, okay? We're talking about Moon Knight. When the Moon Knight series first aired on Disney Plus, I was intrigued. This was one character from Marvel that I actually knew very little about, which doesn't happen often with this franchise. The show starts out with a mild-mannered museum employee named Stephen Grant, a British man with a penchant for sleepwalking and other strange tendencies. Stephen knows something isn't quite right with him. Over the course of the show, we find out that Stephen's real name is Mark Spector. Unlike the nerdy Brit Grant, Spector is an American mercenary who can kill anyone with, well, anything. In a way to repress the trauma inflicted upon him by his childhood, Mark created Stephen as a second personality of sorts, based off of an old adventure hero from a movie he watched as a kid. In his adult years, he's betrayed and left for dead while on a mission in Egypt, saved by the moon god Khonshu, but is forced to be the god's avatar of justice, known only as Moon Knight. Moon Knight's introduction into the MCU is a very exciting one in that it, like Thor Love and Thunder, shows us some of the more godly, supernatural aspects of the universe. It's an aspect we've seen very little of, but has really been put on full display in the later parts of Phase 4. With the Celestials taking a larger role with Eternals and Thor, I don't see that changing anytime soon. These are words I didn't think I'd be saying. But Daredevil is back, and he's better than ever. I remember the rumors of the No Way Home return of Matt Murdock, the blind lawyer of Hell's Kitchen, but I didn't believe him. I typically take most of those pre-release rumors with a grain of salt to begin with. I mean, the return of Daredevil being once again played by the great Charlie Cox? It just sounded way too good to be true. Once the film came out, however, we were blessed with the truth. Turns out, Matt did make an appearance, and good God, he's played by Charlie Cox! Though this does raise some questions that I feel like definitely haven't been answered yet. Is this tied in with the Netflix series, or a reboot with the same actors? I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio came back as Fisk in Hawkeye. I'm personally hoping for a reboot because the last season of Daredevil was a bit rough, but that's a topic for another video. We got our first look of Matt in his Daredevil persona in episode 8 of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, and I could make a whole video about why I love this suit. The colors really work for me here. The whole episode's worth of Daredevil made up for how long we had to wait for him, in my opinion, and I can't wait to see what Matt has in store in Echo and Daredevil Born Again. As we established, I'm a huge fan of the MCU as well as the Marvel brand, so I'm pretty forgiving when it comes to the characters that they choose to shine the spotlight on. Also, in case you weren't aware, I spent a lot of time on the internet. I know, surprising. I've noticed how a lot of people view the series nowadays. The term MCU is a very commonplace criticism for the series around here, which I totally get it though. I mean, every single new character has been female, and it's obvious that Marvel only hires female actors, and I, for one, think it's 100% horse... Oh. That's interesting. That being said, I'm going to continue with the hot takes and voice the most unpopular opinion you'll ever hear on the internet. I actually liked She-Hulk. In fact, I'd say it was my favorite Disney Plus series in the MCU, except the finale was trash. In my opinion, the finale really holds this series back, but I'm already working on a video discussing my feelings about that, so we'll hash that out another time. Jennifer Walters as a character, though, absolutely nailed it. Tatiana Maslany's take on the character was second to none in my opinion. She was also hilarious in the role and really made it her own. However, the main reason I wanted to spotlight her as a character is because of her ties to Avenger veteran Bruce Banner, her cousin. I'm not gonna lie, the She-Hulk premiere is hands down the best Disney Plus Marvel premiere so far, and a lot of that is because of the banter between Bruce and Jennifer. Fun times, fun episode. Hopefully we'll get to see her again before Secret War drops in 2026. In my opinion, the introduction of Kamala Khan in the MCU is an important one because, well, she's one of us. Assuming you're coming into this as a fan of Marvel with a love for the characters, she's meant to resonate with you. Ms. Marvel represents what it means to be a Marvel superfan, regardless of race or identity. And Iman Vellani is able to bring that to life so naturally because, simply put, she is one of us. She was a Marvel fan before taking the role. The exact scenario that Kamala finds herself in the show. On top of that, her unique background really helps to enhance her character and expand or really flesh out the universe in a very real way. I think that's awesome. Her age is another huge factor. For the most part, every hero in the MCU, especially in the early days, were older men. Then they added in some older women. It wasn't until Peter Parker in Civil War that the energetic, youthful heroes were brought into the fold. It really drew new life into the franchise after 8 years of kicking ass, and I genuinely believe that's what Kamala is doing here. I'm super stoked to see her big screen debut in the Marvels this year. The MCU really is a miracle in filmmaking. They don't always knock it out of the park with everyone, but I think it's hard to deny what the series has done with fictional storytelling in film. They literally took the episodic storytelling of the comics, brought it to the theater. They went even further with the past couple years by making it into our living rooms with Disney Plus. Seeing where they started and seeing where they are now genuinely makes me excited for the future. Quantumania is just around the corner, and with that, the beginning of a new phase. Though most people are inclined to disagree, it seems, Phase 4 was a great way for them to go. Probably hands down my favorite phase in the MCU, if I had to be honest with you. Don't at me, bro. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, please be sure to like and subscribe. Take part in the conversation below and tell me why you agree or disagree. Being a small channel has the benefit of being able to read and respond to everyone. currently looking on a full Phase 4 in review video, but there's a lot that's going to go into that, and it's going to be a long one. Until that's done, I'm probably going to take a break from Marvel content and move on to something else. My next video will more than likely be an unscripted tier listing video of all the movies I saw for the first time last year. That'll also be the premiere of the new intro for the video, so get hyped for that. But until then, cinephiles, live long and prosper. Take it easy.